Hi everybody. Today I wanted to go over another beautiful pocket knife from the collection. This is of course another Great Eastern Cutlery. And this one's kind of a special one because it's pretty rare in the how many they've made and just the cover material in particular. So this one is the 79 frame. So it's that kind of tapered sleeve board frame. It's a 3-blade, as you can see, with a main spear, a clip, and then a Warncliffe. And the cover material is curly maple, which is really pretty. You can kind of see the curls there. I think that might be called chatoyance. You can see the chatoyance, but it's a very beautiful cover material for a very beautiful knife. And this one, as you see, as I open up the main blade, there's the big spear point. But as you can see, this is a factory test. So I'm sorry about that. Factory tests are interesting. There was a video a while back put out by the Apostle P, who's a great source and a great channel. He mentioned in one of his videos a while back about I think it was like collectability of GECs, or like what makes them collectible or something like that. But I had heard of factory tests before, but he did a pretty good job of just kind of enumerating on why they are collectible. And you know, I guess like anything else, it's collectible because there's less of them. But with factory tests, there are less of them, and it's so much so that you know, for like the real collectors, they're very desirable because they're just hard to find. Usually, like I'll show you in just a second, this tube, which is actually, it's the tube, but it's the certificate of authenticity, which is funny because it's on the back of the tube. Normally the ones I've seen are in the tube, but this one's on the back. But anyway, as you see, certificate of authenticity. This is a Great Eastern Cutlery, Northfield, unexcelled. This special label authenticates this factory test production run at Great Eastern Cutlery in Titusville, PA, completed on June 22nd, 2012. So that's 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. And this pattern is 792312 LP. I am not 100% sure on what LP is. LP might be limited production, but I don't know if it is. LP, it probably is limited production, just because nothing else is. But I'd have to confirm that. If anyone knows LP, leave it in the comments. I think it is limited production. But anyway, and it's limited to 2 knives made with these special features, brown curly maple, and it's serial number 3, which I thought was interesting. So it's one of 2, but it's serial number 3. I think it's because, you know, obviously they made a few of these things, and it's signed by Christine Tucker. They made a few of these things. I love the tubes. But only 2 of them were curly maple, so maybe they made like, you know, 2 in like some kind of bone, and then so that was 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 maybe are curly maple. I don't know, but this one's number 3, as you can see on the bolster. Nickel silver bolsters, nickel silver shield, long poles, beautiful cut swedges, very nicely done. You can see they're very even on both sides. It really is a beauty, I do have to say. for all the purists, I will reopen that actually to then open the next one. So to avoid any blade rub, which I have not noticed, although to be fair, I have not really used, I've not used this knife at all. So I'll do this for you, and then I'll open it this way. So there's the clip. So let's do this the proper way. I will close the spear so that you can just look at the clip. So it's a really nice clip. I really do like the clip. I like how the design of the knife is pretty good, because the clip is a user. I mean, this thing is the main blade of other pocket knives, but it's big enough to use, beautiful cut swedges, very even, you can see, thin. This thing is thin. Cuts like a laser beam, I am sure. That flamboyant spear, you know, comes in handy here, because it's almost like designed as a finger choil there. That looks like a choil. The tang is, you know, protrudes, but it's really is, it is a nice grip. Really is a good grip. This is a good, really nice, usable knife. And then there's another one. So there's 3 altogether, but I just wanted to kind of give you the look of this thing without any others open. It's a beautiful, it is a nice knife. And also I like how this side tapers thin. It just gives you this feel of control. This is my favorite grip personally, but it still is excellent. Your finger goes there. And the size of this, I think this is 3 3/4, which is perfect. It's near 3 3/4 if it's not exact. I'm not going to measure it. We can, you know, the specs are everywhere online. But I find 3 3/4 knives are usually my favorite. 3 1/2 are great. I think 3 1/2s are like GEC 15s, Tom Choice Barlow, stuff like that, which are great. There's 2 things with the 15s that I think are not too small, because that would upset people. I love the 15s, but the 3 1/2 is, so I might do a video on this honestly, but it's the bones in your hand, and obviously every hand is different, and obviously I have these silly gloves on, but the reason I do is to not get fingerprints all over this thing. But the bones from your pointer finger to your pinky that make up the opposite end of your knuckles, you know, or here around, I find that the support of a knife can be really benefited, or you know, the support of the whole package can be benefited when you use that, or at least when you're aware that you can use that. But the problem is you cannot use those knuckles really well if the knife isn't long enough. Now, of course, as a pocket knife, you don't want the thing too big. I don't like, even like 4 inches to me is too big. 4 1/2 is a monster. But for certain like wilderness tasks, if you were going to, if you felt compelled to have a pocket knife with you out there, that was like a folding, as a folder and a back spring that didn't lock, and you wanted to do it that way, then I suppose a 4 1/2 blade might work, because for hunting or for certain bushcraft tasks or other things, you might like that. But I digress. The length of the knife, in my opinion, needs to meet those knuckles for it to really be something that you can get some force behind. It's not to say that you can't do that with the 15. I think you definitely can, and I love it. I love the 15. But the other thing with the 15 is, as a result of it being a little smaller, you sacrifice. Well, everything goes down. It's not necessarily a sacrifice. It's just up to whatever you prefer. But because of it's smaller, that means that the frame is smaller. If the frame is smaller, that means the blades are smaller. If the blades are smaller, the tangs are smaller. If the tangs are smaller, it has less strength behind the back springs, because the back springs are thinner. There's less support in this dimension, right? If the tang is I guess you would say, if it's not as wide of a tang, if this is length and this is the width of the tang, for lack of a better description right now, If it's smaller, that just means that there's a little bit less meat behind the bolster for the bolster to kind of support. So you just get the feel that it's a little bit not flimsy, but just not as strong as this guy, for instance. So anyway, you get the idea. I just really love the 3 3/4 inch. And also for this reason too, because look, I mean, this is the secondary blade or tertiary blade, you know, and the thing is a main blade. Like, I think that this blade has more oomph or more kind of can do more than the main blade of a 15. And this is, you know, like a main, like a Tom's Choice Barlow, which is arguably not a good example because the bolster is huge, which is stronger. But let's say like just a regular 15 without a bolster, not a Barlow, the main blade on that, if it's a clip, I think this is a bigger clip, and it might not be bigger, but it's thicker where it counts, like behind the bolster. So anyway, you get it. It's that's why I love it. I love the 15s too, though, so don't get me wrong. But anyway, it's a beauty. It really is nice. And this thing just fills your hand. It's not too big, because these things can get too big fast. And this thing is not too big. But this is like, it's like getting, oopsie, sorry. It's getting there. But it's not that big. It's not that big. So anyway, to open up the way that we should open up, we'll open up the main blade to avoid any rub. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. There's the clip. So here's the warnie. Open the warnie. Close the spear, okay. And now look at this warnie. This thing is cool. It's like a little razor blade. I don't know if that's, that might be a sheep's foot actually. It could, I think it's a sheep's foot. I don't think that's a warnie. Anyway, awesome. It just works. This thing works because this spear, which, you know, some might say, well, it gets in the way. It actually doesn't, because it creates this kind of a choil. And when you draw down on this thing, this is not really bothering you too bad. I think part of that function is with the design of the knife, sleeve board pattern. This thing is thicker here, the frame, and it's tapering over here. So as you squeeze it, your pinky on this thicker side is able to grip it more, which is compensating for, it's taking less pressure. It's taking the pressure that you have to exert with this finger on this blade here, because your pinky can get more of a purchase back here. So as a result of that, like right now, I have a pretty good grip on this thing. It's because this part is thicker. So here, I don't need to be as tight with it. And I think what that ultimately does is it lends you some control, because you feel a little bit more, you know, a little bit more able to maneuver. You still have the strength, but you can, you know, you can move this thing however you want. You know, you can score with it, you can draw cut with it, you can side grip it, you could, you know, you could do anything. You could draw down on it if you had to. You could do anything with it. That might be a disadvantage to some with it, because it has so many blades, that it can be difficult to grip unless you're using the main blade, which I'll show right now. But I don't think that it is. So see, the main blade obviously is there's nothing there here to get in your way. And so, and the reverse of what I'm saying, this is thinner back here, the frame. And you can tell, actually. You can tell. Now that I think of it, I prefer the thicker part back here. And I think as you'll see that, like, that's how knives are usually designed, I think, is you know, the grip is thicker back here, and then it tapers to here, you know, like hunting knives or even bushcraft knives, you know, because the pinky's a smaller finger, it needs more of a purchase, more of something to purchase. So I do prefer that. However, I'm not saying anything about the design. I think it's a beautiful design, and whether you like 3 blades or not, the thing is, like, you can't say that this is not gorgeous, how all those blades stick out like that. And in typical GEC fashion, how they fit into the frame with about as much width apart from each other as a human hair, and they fit perfectly. I mean, perfectly. this is just where GEC shines with stuff like this. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, I don't want to make the video too long. I just think that this is you know, like them all. It's just a beautiful knife. And this one's cool because it's rare, and you know, it's fun to show these babies off. So anyway, I hope you like it. Here's the cap. 792312, so it was made in 2012, as we discussed. Round curly maple. And just for good measure, here is the wax paper, which I love. I love how they put this in there. Always save the wax paper. Don't get rid of the wax paper. Okay? And be gentle with it if you can. All right. Well, thank you guys. I hope you appreciate it. Just a short, quick little video. It's nothing really fancy, but I just love looking at these things. And I love sharing, you know, the different perspectives, like, because everyone's got different knives, you know, and they're just really very special. They're beautifully made, with beautiful materials, high quality stuff, all around. Look at the shield. I mean, how they inlay the shield like that. It just, there's nothing there, no gap. And they pin it. They don't glue it, obviously. It's just like really well done. The transitions on this one are great, like really, really, really good. The transitions from bolster to cover are really good, like really good. And on this side, like honestly, some of the best, I have to say, some of the best. So anyway, there it is. I'll make more videos. Sorry it took me a while to make this one. I hope you guys like it, and thanks so much for subscribing. That's cool. And yeah, hope you guys have an awesome day.